What's up, guys? It's your boy Spider Productions here, and today we are here with a new video dropped by Rockstar a couple minutes ago. It seems like he's doing a She-hulk CGI Explained video, so I guess he's going to be explaining the CGI thing that he was explaining in the last breakdown video that I watched. So it's a full video dedicated to it, so I'm curious to see what his thoughts and opinions on her CGI are. Personally, like I said, I don't hate it. It's not bad. Like, it's not as bad as other CGI that I've seen in other things, either in movies or in cartoons or even in video games. It's not bad. It's just very noticeably different compared to everybody else. Like we're going based off of the show. We saw Abomination, we saw Hulk, we saw She-hulk. She-hulk is on my bed now. I feel like grabbing her. But we've seen all those CGI characters. I would say the only person that's like a main character that's not CGI'd is her villain, Titania, I believe is her name. And compared to Abomination and Hulk, they both look really realistic. She does not. So I think it's because it's a new CGI model that they've never tried before. So that's probably the reason. But yeah, compared to Hulk and her, she looks way more cartoony compared to Bruce Banner. He looks way more realistic. But anyway, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's a noticeable difference, and I hope that they have time to fix it moving forward. If not, I'm willing to deal with it because it is a TV show, so I'm pretty sure the budget of the TV show is not as big as the Avengers when they did Hulk CGI, or even Shang-Chi when they did Abomination CGI. So, like I said, we'll see. But let's check out his video, see what he has to say.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and Marvel's She-Hulk unveiled the MCU's new hulked-out attorney-at-law. Jennifer Walters, Tatiana Maslany rendered in a bulky verdigris that even she seems a bit uncomfortable with. The CGI, VFX, and overall design seems to be all anyone can focus on at the moment, which is crazy to me, because how could you think about anything other than an MCU superhero carrying a bodybuilder off to Pound Town? Well, on one giant green hand, this is the first trailer footage we're seeing, and often Marvel trailers show us unfinished VFX that are vastly improved upon when the content releases. Marvel even spruces up the VFX between theatrical release and Blu-ray release, even sometimes between weeks while a movie is still in theaters. They've also been caught quietly updating the VFX on Disney Plus episodes after the initial upload. So even our perceptions of what constitutes proper standards of Disney live-action VFX is pretty hard to measure. But on the other giant green hand, these Marvel Disney Plus series are reported to have budgets of tens of millions of dollars per episode. And if the effects were still being rendered, why not wait to release the trailer until you had footage or even just one big reveal shot that you can be proud of? And if Hulk looks so good in this footage, why not the title character? You know,
yeah, like
all
Hulk
eyes
looks
are
great
on. Folks, I spend a lot of my time here at New Rockstars analyzing visuals and VFX, and I come from it not from a technical approach, but from a narrative and a character vector. And I can't help but laugh whenever I see people commenting things like, the CGI looks like shit, and that is a fact. I'm an expert. Because folks, there is no objective scale of good versus bad CGI.
Because people even say the Spider-Man CGI is bad.
Now, Disney,
not
of course,
really.
has no excuse. They have access to cutting-edge VFX technology, and based off of the billions they're raking in, they really should spare no expense. But with any title ever, its VFX is really a factor of two things: creative priorities and economic pressures. Because folks, the reason we saw a She-Hulk trailer this week is that Disney had to drop this trailer to excite advertisers at their upfronts. Meanwhile, the VFX artists who are working on She-Hulk have a task more difficult than any other Marvel Disney Plus title yet, so go easy on them. This isn't just creating a beautiful backdrop of the TVA or the beautiful riches of Khonshu's skull. There is a reason why Marvel Studios does not want to commit to making a live-action Hulk title and removed Hulk from the final act of Infinity War. Making a believable, cool Hulk face is really, really hard. And with that, I agree that the imagery of She-Hulk in this trailer doesn't really live up to what we expect from Marvel. But here is the secret with VFX. It is a magic trick. We know in our brains it is not real, but we suspend our disbelief and we just go along with it. If you look hard enough, you can find imperfections in anything. From a velociraptor in Jurassic Park vanishing for a frame or two in a T-Rex's mouth, to Elsa's ponytail magically clipping through her arm during Let It Go. It does not matter unless, as you are watching the full movie in the theater or the full episode on your TV, it actively distracts you in that moment from enjoying the narrative beat. Now, of course, the tough sell with She-Hulk is her unusual appearance is really the core hook of the series. Like, we are totally invited to scrutinize her appearance. The trailer even compliments her ass.
Your ass looks crazy right now.
Now, you may have seen the criticism that She-Hulk in this trailer, and other CGI characters people have complained about, fall within what's called the Uncanny Valley. But what is that really? The Uncanny Valley was a term coined in 1970 by Japanese robotics engineer Masahiro Mori, who observed that as robots became more and more human-like, they risk crossing into a threshold in which their emulation of human appearances and mannerisms backfires, as we suddenly see them as psychologically unnerving, and suddenly they look like soulless flesh puppets. Now, animated films have had mixed success with this over the years. Pixar has had tremendous success deferring to non-human characters and then loading up those characters with deeply human emotion. Meanwhile, movies like The Polar Express pushed human realism way too far and slipped right into that valley. The first design of Sonic, Valley. Cats, Valley. The way successful CGI characters have avoided the valley is by reimagining their entire anatomical structure. Gollum in the Lord of the Rings films is a hideous goblin humanoid, but has a misshapen skull, imbued with highly expressive human features, enormous eyes with proportionally overwide pupils, and a tremendous attention to detail into the facial skin. So human skin is semi-translucent. It's made up of several layers of epidermis, covering muscles all working in harmony, covered with hairs and indentations, blemishes, various imperfections that our minds perceive as realistic. And light catches all of these layers, creating what's called subsurface scattering. Now, in the Avatar films, the Na'vi look pretty good because of all the texturing, the way the various layers of their skin and the hairs on their skin respond to light. And when we see them, our brains don't say, hey, that looks weird, because they're totally different skulls. They only vaguely evoke Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington. Now, texturing is what Marvel VFX crews have gotten really, really good at. The hairs and the grains on Thanos' face, the lines and the creases of Smart Hulk's face. Thanos isn't just Josh Brolin's face on a purple body. Smart Hulk isn't just Ruffalo's face on a green body. They have completely different skulls underneath all that skin, that mannerisms that just evoke the way those actors talk. And it doesn't really matter that they're ugly, because they're meant to be intimidating or comedic. And herein lies the challenge with She-Hulk. Now, whether you're a Marvel hero battling off the Sinister Six or just fighting off some sinister snacks, it's hard to find healthy snacks that taste great. Well, thankfully, Tootaloo is here to help. Tootaloo is a tasty snack with functional herbs and producers else gonna get the planet by regenerating polluted farmland. So welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss.
Shoot. Sorry. Messed that up. Let me go back.
Multifaceted character in a different taxation. Thanks again to Tootaloo for sponsoring this video. She-Hulk is a multifaceted character in the pages of the Marvel Comics, a deconstruction of the rage monster trope, and a satire of the over-sexualization of female superheroes. She must be strong and Hulk-like, yet beautiful, and as an embodiment of sexual liberation, someone you could imagine sleeping with a normal human. Now, Bruce Banner Hulk in this trailer looks as great as ever, and that's because the VFX team could just use the same character design and templates that were already created for Avengers Endgame.
Yeah,
but with She-Hulk, they are designing this character from scratch, from the bones
that's
up.
what I figured.
And unlike Hulk and unlike Thanos, she cannot be monstrous and caveman-like. She must still be attractive and retain the easy-on-the-eyes dimensions of Tatiana Maslany's natural face. The result is that She-Hulk, in this early footage, often just looks like Maslany's face is digitally painted green and mapped into the middle of a huge mane of hair. It actually may remind you of Will Smith as Genie in the 2019 Aladdin, which was another...
Yeah, because I heard a lot of people... were talking about, like, how could they make Gamora look so fabulous, but She-Hulk doesn't? You do realize that Gamora is literally skin painted? Like, the actress is skin painted green. Tatiana Maslany is a CGI character. That's two entirely different things. You could CGI green paint somebody and still do your stunts in real life. Like, she's not, like, as far as I'm aware, maybe I'm wrong, Gamora is not CGI'd. Like, other than when she does a couple of her hero shots. But She-Hulk is a CGI character. I thought that they were going to pick, like, an actress that was going to be, like, big and bulky and then green paint her. But no, they just said, no, it's a CGI character. She's a CGI character. So I guess it makes sense because Hulk is a CGI character. But I'm also glad that he pointed that out earlier, because I had that same idea, that the reason why Hulk and Abomination look so great is because, one, they were made with movie budgets. They had tremendous amount of money put into their CGI, especially Abomination, Hulk, and Thanos. They all had billions of dollars put into their CGI, so they look phenomenal. So when they just put them in the show, like Hulk and Abomination, they just take those same models that they already had in Endgame and Shang-Chi and just put them in the show. Whereas She-Hulk is literally reconstructed from scratch. So whatever they have is whatever they have. So yeah, I can see why the CGI would be off compared to the other two that have been modified, changed, made to be realistic over the years, not just in their specific movies, but over the years. So it makes sense from that perspective. That's why her CGI is not as good as the other two. But there's a possibility that they can still improve it a bit. I don't expect it to be like perfect, because if you go into this mindset of like, oh, this has to be perfect, you're always gonna go in with low expectations. I don't expect her CGI to be phenomenal or anything, but I expect it to be at least made to be a bit realistic compared to Hulk and Abomination. Now, if it still looks cartoony, I'm not going to let that distract me from the show, because personally I'm in it for the show. I'm in it for the relationships with the characters. I'm in it for the storytelling mostly. Like, that's what I'm in it for. Now, if they can improve upon the CGI and VFX before this, which I'm sure they probably can, then I will have absolutely no complaints moving forward. But that's just me.
For instance, where those filmmakers felt they needed to keep the precise contours of the actor's face. Now, I don't know if it's fair to say Maslany She-Hulk falls into the Uncanny Valley, because I think the proportions of her face, regardless of the body it's on, isn't that freakish to look at. Like, I certainly don't think She-Hulk needs a Sonic-level redesign. Really, the main issue that they're still clearly working on is the texturing of She-Hulk's skin and how it responds to light. Like, notice how Hulk's skin looks bumpy and almost yellow-brown in natural light, but She-Hulk's skin is almost always bright lime green, just really one color tone. And when you look at it closely, her skin really lacks detail, causing it to, at this stage, look unnaturally smooth and rubbery, especially when it moves
really
and shifts under
smooth.
the light. Now,
compared to Hulk,
trailers
this looks
YouTube
really
super
smooth.
compressed.
No pores or anything.
Compression on Disney Plus uploads, but honestly, that might be to gloss over some of these rough edges. Really, it's Now, it doesn't help that Disney uploads these trailers to YouTube super compressed, as is the compression on Disney Plus uploads, but honestly, that might be to gloss over some of these rough edges.
That's so funny that they used
really,
that shot,
it's only
everybody was
distracting
talking
in
about
character
that shot.
close-ups, like the slightly unnatural movement when she straightens up while looking at her phone, and when she flirts with her date.
This is the best date I've had in a while. Don't go in there! Don't go in there!
Goddamn ads.
Wow.
Oh,
Should we split some fries?
let's get those to go.
Now, while Maslany's voice is great there, the movement of her eyebrow as it cocks and smirk of her lips, they're just stiff and restrained. Probably not the same expression Maslany actually made under the mocap. The expressions have almost no effect on the surrounding skin, and as a result, we lose some of that flirtation. Now again, all of this is still being rendered, and I think this scrutiny is completely overblown. Like all magic tricks, it's about the overall experience. And I think the tone and the world and the relationships will ultimately be what we most enjoy from this series. And I think the best example of why we should be optimistic about this is the final shot of the trailer, when She-Hulk carries her date off to the bedroom. It doesn't really matter how good She-Hulk's texturing looks here, because it's all about the goofy visual gag. It's a huge dude completely smitten with being cradled. She-Hulk doesn't even struggle with the weight, and that's what's fun about it. And honestly, I do not know how they pulled off this shot. Like, I assume they suspended this actor with wires, but his foot knocks into the lamp, and that lamp light shifts on the furniture and on his feet. That light shifting looking pretty practical. And something is clutching his back to crease his shirt like that. So was it Maslany on stilts, wearing a mocap suit with one of those character face popsicles over her head for the
honestly, I do
holding
want to see the
this guy,
behind the
but
scenes
assisted
of this
with
show.
wires?
I'm really
Or
curious
was
how
she
they do
actually on a
that.
green screen set here, holding someone smaller or something smaller, and then they synced it with a shot of an empty practical set where they moved the lamp? I mean, it's just fun to think about all these permutations. Again, it's a magic trick, and that is how good VFX should be. You don't really know what the machinery is. And that's why, despite the unfinished VFX elsewhere in this footage, I still leave this trailer smiling and excited for this series. Good VFX is all about the narrative, the character, the moment, and the way the VFX interacts with the practical environment. So if She-Hulk is going to give us more moments like this, I think I'm going to love this show. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EABoss, follow New Rockstars, subscribe to New Rockstars for more.
Okay, I mess with his opinion on that. Yeah, personally, I don't think that this is bad. I don't think that this is going to be a bad show. Not at all. I think it's going to be a really good show. I just would say, yeah, some of the things that he pointed out about the CGI and about the how clean and smooth and rubbery her face and skin look compared to obviously Mark Ruffalo with his pores and bumps and even his scruffy gray beard we've seen. in the show. I think that we're definitely going to see it improved. Like I said, the show doesn't come out for like another, what, 2-3 months? Because it's May now, so June, July, August. So yeah, August. We got 3 months for them to fix the CGI. Now, hopefully that doesn't mean that they push the show back, because I thought that the show was supposed to come out like later this year. I thought it was supposed to come out in like November or December. So I'm glad it's not being pushed that far back. But if they have to push it back to fix the CGI, personally, as much as I would hate it, I would understand it, because I don't want to watch this show without the developers and everybody putting their heart and soul into it. So if they need to take time to make it better, sure. I personally would hate it, but I mean, if they need to, then that's what they need to do. But since they uploaded the trailer 3 months before the show comes out, that gives them a good time window to focus on the CGI for this show. Now, obviously, they also have to focus on the CGI for other stuff too, like Ms. Marvel that's coming out next month, or Thor: Love and Thunder that comes out the month after that, and then She-Hulk. So yeah, they have a lot on their plate. I don't know if it's the same CGI people working on all 3 projects, but if it is, they have a lot on their plate with all the Marvel content coming out in the next 3 months. But yeah, like, I'm willing to give this a chance. I'm not going to let the bad CGI distract me from the good storytelling and the good relationships between the characters and the good visual representation. So we will see how this goes. So that's my opinion. I loved his explanation and I loved his breakdown of this. Definitely put me in perspective. So I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction to this video from New Rockstars. If you guys did, let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts and opinions on this video was. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and comments down in the description below. Drop a like on the video below. Hit the subscribe button to be part of the community, and hit bell notifications so you guys know when I shall post next. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.